Well, hello friends and beautiful people. It is Kathryn. Hello. Let me make sure I am on the right page. Before we begin, we're going to play some intuition, true or false, a little lightning round of intuition, true or false. So let's see who's joining. I make sure I'm alive on my page. And I'm going to see who's joining. All right, there we are. I'm going to share in a couple places, in a couple of groups, and then we shall get started. Hi, Amy. I'm going through all of my groups here, looking for just the right one. Oh, it's the problem of having too many groups on Facebook that you can't find the one that you're looking for. All right, there we go, in one of my groups. So hello, say hi, let me know if you're joining live, and if it's later on, hashtag replay. Let's talk about our intuition. There we go. Perfect, 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 perfect. So hello, wherever you are in the world. My name is Kathryn Massell, and I am an elevated consciousness coach. I'm a live intuitive channel. I've been doing this work for about 25 years now. I just celebrated my 20th anniversary of being online, the first ever offer that I posted. It was like a 3-day workshop online 20 years ago in 2002, when online stuff was in its infancy and it wasn't such a completely saturated marketplace. It was a little bit of a different world back then. There's so many of us doing this work now of elevating each other on our spiritual and human evolution journey. And it's very exciting to do this work and in this time. And I love being a teacher. I absolutely love teaching. And I have an upcoming program called Living Intuitively that I'm going to be teaching next Wednesday. It's a 6-week, what I call a double program. It's an intuitive immersion, which means every week for 6 weeks we have a live call on Wednesday, and then that week's material has a supplemental video that is going to help you deepen into the content. So what I thought I would do is come online here and share with you some pretty interesting information about what I have kind of collated and recognized after 2 decades plus of doing this work and having a lot of clients who are working on increasing the depth of their connection with their intuitive self. So here's what I've found to be some of the things that are false, some of the myths, and I'm going to do some myth busting here with you. Some myths about intuition, because a lot of people have some pretty misperceived notions and false assumptions about intuition. And then some of the things that we feel into about intuition are actually correct. So we're going to do a little lightning round of true and false. So your intuition is really that intuitive aspect of self, that higher self inner positioning system. And we all have this. So when we are talking about being intuitive, we are talking about being able to feel into something that is below the surface of our rationale, our intellectualizing of something, whatever it might be. It is a deeper felt sense, and it is actually direct knowing, because your intuitive aspect has a direct line of perception to the truth of reality. This is called direct perceiving. direct experience of reality. The way our ego perceives reality is through the filters that we have taken on over a lifetime. And so the second level of reality, really, the first level of reality is our intuitive level of reality, meaning what we have come through as direct experience of the truth of how things really are. And then there is a perceived experience of reality. So that gets filtered through all of our ego's misperceptions about the nature of ourselves and the nature of reality as a whole. So, there are a number of reasons why, over as many years as I've been doing this work, but why people pursue intuitive work with me, why they want to deepen into their intuitive connection, because we all have this level of connection. We're all born with it. So, sometimes people are looking for deeper answers. People are looking for and trying to gain greater clarity about their true nature and purpose. It could also be that people want more insight about their relationship to themselves and to the world at large. Want more insight about the relationships that they have with not just the world, but other people in their world, right? It could also be that people want to tap into greater intuitive insight in their dream time. They want to be able to cultivate more information about their dreams because our dreams are always speaking to us. And in dream time, we have a very unique connection with our intuition because we're not working with the conscious filter of our daytime level of ego attachment. So that goes away during dream time and when we are sleeping. So our intuition will try to reach us because just like everything in nature, it strives for simplicity. So your intuition tries to reach you in often the easiest ways possible and when you're not bogged down with a bunch of filters, okay? It could also be that, when people reach out and want to work with me and want to learn intuition through the work that I do, a lot of times people are just looking for a more magical and miraculous connection to everyday life. They want to be able to be in that vantage point of self where life is a living, breathing miracle, and they are a living, breathing miracle, and they want that level of connection to reality. All of these reasons are totally legit for wanting to work with and deepen into your intuitive connection. All these reasons that I've listed are really just a snapshot of what's available to you when you work with your intuitive aspect and when you deepen that level of connection. So I find that no matter what the reason may be that people want to fine-tune their intuitive acuity and work with me in this way to really enhance and master their intuitive acumen. But there's one very common fear and two pervasive myths. And we're going to talk about that as we do these this lightning round of true or false. But so first of all, I want to ask, do you think, or I should state it in an affirmative statement, true or false? Your intuitive awareness is the same as psychic perception. True or false? What do you think? If you said false, you'd be correct. So while these areas do overlap, certainly and profoundly, they are not the same thing. So let's clear this up right away. So when increasing your connection with and learning to trust more in your intuitive level of perspective, you're exercising a natural human ability of direct experience. Direct knowing is also what I call intuition. And so this is a direct experience of reality through your superconscious level of perception. So you have three main levels of mind. There are other levels of mind, but for the sake of studying and deepening into your intuitive connection, let's just talk about the three major ones. So you have your subconscious, which is everything that you've ever experienced in life is recorded in your subconscious. Every experience, every interaction, every feeling, every conversation. So it's like your own inner Akashic records that lives in your mind and in your cells, because your cells record memory. So you have that, and then you have your conscious level of perception, which doesn't actually record anything. It doesn't hold anything. It's just your direct connection with reacting through the sensory states of taste, touch, feel, and your basic five senses. So this doesn't actually record anything. It doesn't hold memory or anything like that. It is just your waking state of experiencing reality through the biofeedback of your five senses. And then there is the superconscious. So this is where your intuition lives. This is where your God self, your highest oversoul self-connection lives, resides. This is the energetic address of the highest level of mind. This is where you are connected to altered states of consciousness. This is where you connect to perceptual diversity. So you're able to perceive not only with the subconscious and the conscious level of mind, but the superconscious level of mind as well. Hi, DC. And so you're able to kind of shift seamlessly in and out of different levels of mind based on what you are pursuing or paying attention to at the moment. So you are able to have this level of superconscious awareness. Superconscious acuity is the same thing as intuitive awareness. Now, I have a lot of clients who are psychic, clients who are mediums, and so it's very true that some of my clients who are mediums and psychics navigate very well through their intuitive knowing and their human ability of direct knowing, and they have a better grasp on the psychic phenomena and how to decode it and work with it because of their diligence and practice with their intuitive connection. So they are different though, okay? So a fear that people have is that when we open up to our intuition, we're going to see things and know things that we really don't want to see or know. That we're going to be exposed to things that we can't handle. Okay, so let's unpack that for those of you who are thinking that that is true. Your intuitive sense, as I mentioned, is your direct experience of reality. So, it is what is obvious, in other words, about the nature of reality. That's what your intuitive sense picks up. It's what is obvious before it goes through any of the mind locks and filters and the lockdown consciousness of your ego perspective of self, okay? So your intuitive sense is your first direct experience of reality. It's what is obvious about the nature of reality, not the mind's or the ego's perception of it based on your personal collective perspectives or memory on reality or of reality. So that is why intuition is also called direct knowing, because it's a direct line of communication from your soul's perspective, your higher God self, your oversoul, okay, which is based in love and is always based in higher spiritual truth. So in that sense, when we fear opening up to the intuition, because, and this is a fear that I've dealt with many of my clients before they start to work with me, because we have to clear this out and clear it up before we get to work. You'll never be shown something that you can't handle. You'll never be shown something that is not based in love, in other words. So it is very true that in excavating the depths of your inner reality, which is one of the ways that I teach intuition, is that we got to clear the path first. Because essentially you need to make room for this level of awareness to show up and be in a pure resonance that is in integrity. So if you're holding a resonance within you that does not match that, you're not going to get a pure and clearly intuitive sense of things. It will be bogged down by the minds and the ego's filters. So we got to clear that up. So you will be shown, when you work with your intuition on a much deeper level, the things that are standing in the way of the purity of that connection. But that always comes from a place of love, and you will never be shown something that you aren't ready to clear, that you aren't ready to release, or that you can't handle. And so a lot of times, I can't tell you how many times I've worked with clients like this who are afraid of fully activating their intuition because they're going to see something that's too scary and then they can't unsee it. In the 20 plus years that I've been teaching intuition, this has never happened. And what does end up happening, when we clear those fears and we clear the way for the intuition to come in like gangbusters, what those people who held those fears previously will often find is that there's so much to mine there, so many precious resources and innate knowing of self on a level that they've never really experienced before. They get to know themselves in a whole new light. So yes, they're seeing things then that they can't unsee, but it is all to their greatest benefit instead of their most feared detriment. And this has always been the case. I've never had anyone, stop working with me because they're like, Kathryn, I've been shown this and it's too scary for me. That's never the case. Because what you are shown from your intuitive aspect of self is always based in higher spiritual truth, because it is always based in love. Okay? So, I got another true or false for you. Okay? You'll find and be able to stay in touch with your true nature and life purpose when you are more directly connected with your intuitive self. True or false? True or false? You'll always be better able to understand, to find, to stay in touch with your life purpose, your true life purpose and nature, if you are more connected on a daily level with your intuitive self. Absolutely, DC, it is true. It is absolutely true. Because this is the part of yourself that is listening intently and paying close attention to your soul speak. That is the language through which your soul is disseminating information to your human. So that is your soul speak. It's the conveyance of your soul speaking to you. And your soul doesn't speak to you in just words. Your soul uses a lot of symbology, a lot of metaphor, a lot of messages. When we have a daily intuitive practice, we are living intuitively, in other words, we are more aware and more adept at decoding those messages and the language of soul speak so that we know what we're being told. But this isn't just a one-off, like I'll connect my intuition this week and then maybe 3 months later I will again. It is a constant process of getting used to this level of connection, being plugged into the superconscious level of mind, where you are in a frequency where you are available to decode what your soul is telling you. And your soul has one purpose. Your soul has one purpose, and that is to guide you towards your destiny. So if you're connected into your soul speak, you're connected by a resonance, a frequency that can have a direct line of communication with your soul. Don't you think that, logically you're going to have then a daily connection to what your true nature and purpose is? And when you're in alignment with that, and also out of alignment with that, of course, okay? So, got another true or false. Okay. In order to really be intuitive, you have to be born with special gifts and talents. True or false? True or false? What do you think? In order to be truly intuitive, you have to be born with special gifts and talents. Come on, don't fall asleep on me yet, people. True or false? False, says Amy, and Amy is correct. Ding, 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 ding. We are all born intuitive. We are all born empathic. Okay, so there's a lot of people in the spiritual community, in the spiritual marketplace who, kind of tout themselves as having special gifts of being intuitive or empathic. Guess what? We're all intuitive and empathic. We are all intuitive and empathic. We are born intuitive and empathic. As tiny humans, we are extremely sensitive, extremely empathic, and if anything, we get unlearned out of this natural ability with tapping into our higher intuitive knowing. Even when we don't have the words to suss out what it is, as we're tiny humans, babies, toddlers, we are operating at that level of connection. We are a pure channel, really, at that age of our soul's wisdom and guidance, because we're really, really close to where we just came from on our previous soul's journey. So that's all still fresh in mind. And as we come more into the density of the human experience, and that doesn't become a prized way of being, like we don't learn to cultivate that. Can you imagine what the world would be like if in kindergarten we all learned how to really work with our intuition and be at home with it instead of feeling like we're weird or odd, total oddballs and weirdos? We'd be living in a completely different world, wouldn't we? So we're all born intuitive. We're all born empathic. And if anything, we get learned out of it. Okay. Sorry, you have some tech issues. That's okay. You'll be able to watch the replay in here. And this is also going to go on my email list, and it'll go out after this is up. And it's also on my YouTube channel. It will be after this is up. So if anything, we get learned out of our intuitive knowing. We stop thinking that it's important. We stop thinking that it is of value to us. We don't honor it. We don't honor this connection with our soul. And if you grew up into any kind of religious dogma that you're born with original sin or any of that horse shit, of course you're going to negate everything that came with you as part of that package of being born into this world with original sin. You're going to, make this unconscious connection, and it's going to be rolled into your unconscious belief system to push away at that, because it'll feel like it'll be unwholesome to you, which is anything but the truth, right? So we have this ability from day one, truly. So if we understood how important our intuitive mind was, we would balance it with the rational mind. One isn't better than the other. That's an important thing to understand too. Your intuitive level of perception isn't any better or worse than your rational level of perception. It's just that we've been taught to prize the rational, the intellectual mind over all else, and think that that's where the buck stops in solving all of life's problems. If we learn to balance it between those two polarities of the rational mind and the intuitive level of mind, we'd be much more balanced and harmonious individuals. So, another one, true or false, okay? And I think I did mention this before, but I'm going to say it again. You believe that being intuitive is the same thing as being psychic. And not in the example that I used before, but you think that you're going to open up to an ability to know all the lottery numbers, or be able to prophesy or predict future world events. True or false? Psychic ability is the same thing as being intuitive. Okay. So if you said false, you are correct. So, and I mentioned there's some great overlap here. I have psychic and medium practicing clients who are very adept at what they do because they practice with living intuitively every single day of their lives. But it doesn't mean you're necessarily going to, all of a sudden be able to pick the winning lottery numbers, be able to predict or prophesy world events or, upcoming disasters. It doesn't turn you into Nostradamus, in other words, okay? Although it can, and there's a lot of overlap there. And hey, we live in a world where anything can happen, and usually it does. So I'm not ruling anything out, but that doesn't necessarily correlate with each other, okay? So it's really about understanding that living intuitively and adopting the intuitive way of life is much more about, it's more about living in presence. It's about living in a place of attention and awareness where you are rooted in the now moment. You're not siphoning off your energy constantly to the past or the future, which is how most of the human family lives. And we're not really invested in the most valuable energetic real estate that there is, which is the now moment. The now moment is rich with possibility. It is expansive. It is the place where the now is where you mine everything that you're asking for. It's all available there. It's not available in your past. It's certainly not available in the future, because those are hallucinations. Those are illusory constructs of mind. The constructs of mind create an artificial architecture. And the intuitive level of mind does not support that. It's not the same frequency. So I got another true or false for you, okay? When you are adept and mastering your level of intuitive connection, you have more confidence and personal power. When you are adept at channeling your intuitive guidance, mastering this level of guidance in your everyday life, you are resonating with a sense of greater personal power and confidence. True or false? Take a guess. Hi, Shantae. Anybody? Anybody? Is this thing on? True, Amy says. Absolutely. DC says true. Absolutely. So when you are working with your intuitive level of mind, this direct perceiving of reality, you get to see things in their truth. You get to see things as they really are. So without all of the filters and the veils over your perception and creating an alternate perception that is based on basically a lot of untruths about you that you developed from an early age, that you developed from triggering events, wounding events from very early on, okay? These are creating veils and overlays on your ability to directly perceive reality. So when you are receiving things in the purity of truth, and you are in that place of knowing, well, I just know this is true. I don't have to second guess. I don't have to ruminate on it. I don't have to worry about it. I'm not preoccupied by it. I don't have to chew it over in my mind. If I just know that this is truth, doesn't that allow you to move forward with a lot more confidence, a lot more poise? You carry yourself differently. You have a surety about yourself and about the nature of the world. You tend to trust yourself better. And when you trust yourself better, you tend to take more actions that feel like leap of faiths, or maybe they would have felt like leaps of faith before, but feel like, well, this is just the next step. It makes perfect sense to me. If I feel this way and I know it is truth, then the next step just naturally reveals itself to me, and it does when you are in your intuitive level of perception and learning how to live intuitively every day. That next step presents itself. That's a surety, that's a guarantee. And then you're able to proceed more confidently and from a place of power. When we feel confident, we feel in charge of our life, we feel powerful, right? And so, living intuitively and adopting the intuitive way of life is much more about living in presence. It's about understanding the expansiveness and the availability of everything in the now moment. It's about tuning into a level of awareness that allows you to derive more efficient, more elegant, more upscale solutions to your life's challenges that are actually quite simple. The elegance that I'm speaking of there is really about simplicity, because nature loves simplicity. It's only humans that like to convolute and complicate things. We're really good at that. We're really adept at that. Nature loves simplicity. And your intuitive aspect and that level of knowing, that superconscious level of self, is what comes from pure source. And things get communicated from that level of consciousness in very simple ways. Is the superconscious the same as the higher self? The higher self you could think of as the container of your superconscious, because the superconscious is a frequency. It is a level of perceiving through your higher self, or as I like to say, your God self. When I say God self, what I'm really talking about is your highest level of higher self, because we actually have a number of higher selves. We have a multitude of higher selves. So when I say God self, I'm directly referring to, you could say your oversoul, but the highest version of your higher self, because this is the God self, the Godhead that lives within you. It's part of your innate reality. So I communicate with that level, because why have a bunch of middlemen? I want to go right to the clearest level of super conscious connection that comes through my God self, or you might be calling it here your higher self. I hope that helps. So the elegant solutions are the most simple. And when you are in your intuitive level of knowing, those simple and elegant solutions come through like so beautifully. And it's also a level of consciousness that is constantly reminding you that you're not here to push or force or struggle or constantly be striving. Your nature is to be abundant. Your nature is to experience more and overflow, thriving and flourishing. That is what is most simple and elegant and natural for you. Your true nature and purpose is rooted in that frequency. And your superconscious or your intuitive level of mind is that direct connection for you to get guidance on, well, how do I do it? Okay? So I have a really special gift that I want to share with you guys. So in my very special mastermind accelerator that I teach called the Lotus Throne, this is an intimate container that I am leading some women through right now. I'm going to be doing my wait list soon for the next Lotus Throne. So this is a deep mastermind accelerator for women on a spiritual journey who are here in service to themselves in the highest and best way, and also to the planet. And so we did an activation that I'm going to share, and I'm going to take you through live in Living Intuitively Embodied Superconscious Flow, which starts next Wednesday. So I'm going to be doing this activation then with you live if you're joining me in that program, and I hope you do. But I have a recording of it, and I'm going to share it with you. So if you are on my email list already, congratulations, you're going to get that tomorrow morning. If you are not on my email list, there's an easy fix for that because I like simple and elegant solutions. All you need to do is go to kathrynmissel.com, and a little light box will pop up on my homepage. And it'll ask for your information, first and last name and email. Boom, easy peasy, you're on my email list. And don't worry, I don't put you in a funnel or a tripwire and do that sleazy marketing stuff. And I'm sorry if people have funnels and stuff like that. I don't like it. I never have. I've been doing this work for 2 decades, and I've kept my marketing and promotion as organic as possible because that's how I want to interact with my people and my community. I want to be authentic and organic. So when you're on my email list, I don't send you a bunch of stuff and really, push at you to work with me. I don't do the hard sell. And you can jump off my email list anytime you want. And I've had business coaches who are like, don't say that to people. And I'm like, you know what? If we're not aligned, we're not aligned. And you can't fight that or push that or force that. I'm done with pushing or forcing. So if you like my vibe and you want to get freebies and masterclasses and tips and information about spiritual techniques and new classes that are coming up and programs and stuff like that, then you want to be on my email list. If not, then it's not for you. But tomorrow morning, I am sending out this crystalline seed activation. So if you want to deepen into the presence, stop the monkey mind chatter, to really expand into the now moment, to really know what it feels like to be in that frequency of channeling your highest level of your higher self and all of your soul's wisdom that comes through with that connection, you want the crystalline seed activation. And for those of you like Shantae have already experienced it, you know how powerful it is. It's really great, but it's also really simple. I like simple and profound, but I do stretch you. That is one of the reasons I am here to do the work that I'm here to do. I stretch people. I take, yes, esoteric concepts, and then I kind of transcribe it and make it usable and explainable, but it is always going to stretch you. It is always going to take you to a new place because that's what I'm here to do. So if you are interested in this activation, it's totally free. Just need to be on my email list. Go tonight, right after this call, kathrynmissel.com, and jump on my email list. If you're already on there, don't worry about it. You're good. There's no special list to sign up for. I have one email list. I don't have a bunch of funnels and tripwires and stuff like that. So if you're on that main one, you'll get this activation. So Shantae says, yes, it is elegant and powerful. powerful. Yes. So, and then if you feel called, please jump into the Living Intuitively program. It starts on Wednesday, October 5th. The first module opens on October 2nd. So that is the recorded module, Who and What You're Not. We go right in to clearing the way for your intuitive resonance to really come through with purity, without filters, without misperceptions. In the first class, we're going deep into a clearing experience of clearing the mother wound and the father wound. That's going to be in the live class on October 5th. October 2nd, you're going to get the recording of a previous version that I've done of this that talks about who and what you're not. So we go right for the jugular right away. We go right into the framework of who do you think you are and why do you think that you're this person? Because a lot of that is going to be misperceived based on the ego's need to orient itself to where it's wounded, to where it's scarred from life, not to where life has been excellent, not to where life has been miraculous. We often orient our identity to where we feel that we are not perfect, we are not complete. But this is not an accurate picture of you. It never is. It's not based in your higher spiritual truth. So we clear that up right away. So if you're interested in living intuitively, get in this program. It is going to be dynamite. I can't wait to start teaching it. I'm so friggin' excited if you can't tell right now, because teaching is my passion and I love taking people through this experience. We will be live for 6 weeks on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific time in my very special Tao of the Divine Disruptor group. It'll be on Zoom, but you'll also have access to these calls, replays, in my Tao of the Divine Disruptor group. This is the mentorship I've been teaching since April, and so you'll be invited to come join this special container for the duration of the course so that you can ask questions, get support, find elegant solutions to where you feel hung up or challenged by some of the material. I'm always in there. You can always ask questions. There's always bonuses and supplements when I teach. That's just the way it goes. I like to over-deliver. I like to make sure that you guys truly have a grasp of the material instead of grappling with it and trying to figure it out. I never leave people hanging when I teach. There is a split payment option, or you can do the full payment option. Entirely up to you. I also have a VIP option where you get the course, the program, and you have access to that for as long as you like, and you get 2 private one-on-one sessions with me. The first session, we go into the blocks that are hindering you from having a very clear level of intuitive perception, and we clear those very deeply. It's an intuitive deep dive. And then the second one is a more hands-on, intuitive, one-to-one approach, me to you, how to deepen into your intuitive acuity in the most personalized and customized way just for you. So that's the VIP experience, and there's only 2 of those. I'm so excited to get started. So come and join. I'm going to do another live tomorrow, and it'll be like a pop-up live here on my page and in some of my groups. But get that email, your email in my email list so that you'll get the crystalline seed activation in the morning. And I appreciate you too, DC. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching, everyone. Lots of love and peace. Bye-bye.